Hello everyone, my name is Pedro, and in this video, we want to talk about input and output and how that's essential for your life. So, input and output sound very easy and simple, right? Everything that you get, such as you watching this video or you're reading an article on the web, all of them are inputs into your life and your tasks as well, such as Todoist or Things Tree, whatever. The most essential part is how do you transform that input into output, which is knowledge. Knowledge is actually very overlooked. Most of the successful YouTubers or content creators or entrepreneurs, they have a very good input and output system. And I think this is one thing that I realized later on in my life. So a few things that I've learned about input and output is how to optimize your tools. For example, your apps or your notebooks, whatever, the way you're picking up your inputs right now and transforming them into outputs. So informations, they are transforming into results. This is the most essential part. Doesn't matter if you're using apps on your phone or on your computer, or you like the physical stuff, so you like to have a notebook, you need to have a place where you go to and you know everything that you're doing there. I think mastering the tool is one of the most important things as well. So, for example, if I had any task, I will never forget. Why? Because any task that I need to do now or later, I will input into things tree. And that actually helped me because I cannot forget anything because everything that I need to do, it's on things tree. So if I need to send an email later or I need to reply some mail or I need to call someone tomorrow, I'll input all those things into things tree. So I can offload my brain to other tasks and not worry about, oh, I need to remember. You know what I mean? Whenever you have that trigger in your mind that you think, I need to remember that specific thing, or I need to remember this, I need to remember that, you create cognitive load in your brain. And sometimes, because you're trying to remember that thing, your brain might try to offload other things. And then you have that thing that you have a thing, and then you have another thing, and then you keep forgetting them. So it's essential to have a place where you go religiously and input everything that you need in there. Another thing is very important is to take notes. I know note taking sounds very easy, but actually it's not. Why? Because note taking is not about dumping text. It's about making the text cohesive and easy to access at any time. I'm still struggling with that nowadays, but I'm getting better. I use Obsidian for that. So I have a read later tab on my browser, and whatever I wanted to read later to take some notes, I would go to Obsidian and take the notes in there. So now that you have the tool, you can input all your tasks and you can also remember things that you want to learn or you want to study. After that, how are you going to generate output for these inputs? The main reason is if you want to lose 20 kilos in 1 year or you want to get a promotion in your job, you need to be accountable. And accountability is everything that you need in order to succeed in your life. Of course, most of the times I fail, I do mistakes, but having the accountability of putting my tasks, knowing what I'm doing, where I want to achieve, even though in my setbacks, I am able to still keep going and learning and fighting for what I want and improving myself. So the accountability part, I would say, is not about tracking specific events, but having the discipline to know what you need to do every day. One of my accountabilities is doing exercise at least 4 times a week. And this doesn't mean I'll go every day to the gym. Some days I go to the pool, other days I go to the gym, other days I just go for a walk in the park. It's not about I need to exercise a specific exercise, but I need to be constant. I need to keep my engine running. Why? Because I know it's healthy for me. And I also know in the long term will help me with back pain or any other things that aging can cause, right? Apart from that, you need to also think in your life about specific things you want to achieve. So, for example, if you want a promotion in your life or you want to lose weight, you need to set a system in your daily basis that will lead you to that specific spot. If you're trying to pass the interview on Google as a software engineer and you want to study the algorithms, data structures, and everything that's being asked into Google interviews, instead of trying to batch all that knowledge into one day, why not doing 10 minutes every day where you're just learning, having fun, and you're learning one small thing every day? That's a bigger progress compared to try to study everything in a whole Saturday or Sunday. And this is actually what I do with myself. I always try to go in batches over the weekends, but I realize that learning everything all at once, it doesn't work. But learning small bits every day, it's a huge progress. So this is basically how you can increase your input and your output. Of course, in order for this to work, you really need to understand the tools you're using, how are they combining with each other, and how useful that's being for your workflow. I've tried different tools to see which one would fit the best in my workflow. Once you start picking up those tools, you're gonna see a pattern, like which tools you're using more frequently, which tools you can dump and try another one to improve your workflow. It won't work out of the bat. You will need a lot of experimentation and trials and errors. But if you keep trying, you're gonna see some tools. They're very easy to use and you keep using them on and on and on. While others you might need to replace or might need to find a way they have less friction to access it or use it. And this is basically how you can input anything that happens in your life. Don't forget and get results over it. If you like this video, please comment, like, or subscribe, and give your ideas or suggestions into how you're optimizing your life.